So, after working hard to win the World Drivers' Championship last year, Red Bull's situation early 2022 makes that prospect look like a walk in the park, as the team struggles with both pace and reliability. But all is not lost, as the development battle that F1 is so accustomed to is all the more important with the new cars and can swing the championship hopes in either direction. So, without further ado, let's talk about Red Bull's future procedures and what upgrades they might bring to the table to address their issues. Now, Red Bull has been fighting with Ferrari at the front of the F1 field through the first 3 races of the season, winning the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with Max Verstappen. While Red Bull's car has the speed to compete with Ferrari at times, it also has proven to be fragile at times in the early part of the season, failing to reach the checkered flag 3 times out of 6. Verstappen and teammate Sergio Perez were both hit by a fuel pump issue in Bahrain, forcing them to retire in the closing stages, while Verstappen was forced to retire in Australia due to an unrelated fuel system fault. Former F1 driver, now pundit Mark Sura, believes a successful title defense is still possible for Verstappen, but believes his cause may have been hampered by the way his car was assembled in Australia. With 23 races, it's actually not that much. It sounds like a lot, it makes a bad impression, but on the other hand, we have to say he won a race. That means he's capable of winning, and I think that's the most important thing to learn from it. Red Bull also know how to make a car fast. They already know where their weaknesses are, so I'm not really worried. They will catch up again 100% sooner or later. Concerning the specific problem at Albert Park, he added, "What happened is that a line broke, so either they have a weak point in there or it's been badly fitted. That shouldn't really happen. Either the part was simply too weak or not properly constructed, or what I rather believe, because one Red Bull car finished, that probably the assembly was simply sloppy." Speaking on the same subject, Chief Advisor Helmut Marko confirmed that the problem in Australia was a high-pressure fuel line breaking, most likely as a result of the porpoising phenomenon. He also stated that Verstappen's engine will be fit for use in the future, following the intervention of marshals at Albert Park to extinguish a small fire at the back of the car. "Everything is okay with the engine, no problem at all. The retirement was due to a high-pressure fuel line that burst. It was probably because of the bouncing. That was simulated on the test bench, but uncanny forces are in play." When asked whether Ferrari's recent pace advantage or Red Bull's technical issues hurt more, Marko admitted, "The reliability, that was a big blow. We're now well behind Leclerc, but we reacted quickly. From the engine side, I think you can see the problems we had in Bahrain were completely different than, for example, the ones we had in Australia, and also the problems we had in testing. They're always different things." Now, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix this weekend is the first European race of the season, prompting teams to consider bringing a more significant update package to their cars in order to get a jump on their competitors. However, team principal Christian Horner was evasive when asked if Red Bull could follow a similar strategy, citing the limited window for evaluating updates due to the sprint race weekend format. "I wouldn't say a big package planned, it's all part of an evolution. And of course, being a sprint race, you get very little time to evaluate these things, so we've got one session and then you enter qualifying. You've got to be very confident about what you're putting on the car." Now, teams will have 1 hour of practice on Friday afternoon before their setups are locked in for qualifying that evening under Parc Fem. Verstappen and Perez both had balance issues with their cars during the Australia weekend, putting them a step behind Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. And Horner stressed the importance of understanding those issues if they want to be competitive. "I think as we learn more about the tyres and how the car is performing, that gives you a development direction. Over the first 3 races, we've got some very good direction for the development vein for the rest of the season." But Red Bull aren't just concentrating on the pace of their car today, with the Milton Keynes based team looking to take a step forward in terms of engine development in the near future. Honda is still supplying power units to Red Bull, with the engines in the back of the RB18 developed, manufactured and shipped from their Sakura base in Japan, an arrangement that is expected to see Red Bull through the engine freeze. When the freeze is lifted, which is currently scheduled for the 2026 season, the RBPT division will take over the design and manufacturing of the next generation F1 power unit. Work on the new facility is proceeding as planned, according to Horner, and a move of personnel into the department building is imminent. As far as our own preparations, we're on target. We will move into our new facility in May, and the first Red Bull engine will run on the dyno by the end of the year. They're making great progress, it's exciting times, it's a super exciting project. We've attracted some phenomenal talent from all corners of industry. It's a new chapter. 2026, while it seems a long way, is actually a lot closer than you think. Now, according to the current configuration of the new engine rules framework, Red Bull Powertrains will be considered a newcomer manufacturer beginning in 2026. This would entitle them to some benefits, such as an allowance for additional expenses during their first 3 years of operation. The benefits will also include more hours on an engine dyno than current manufacturers such as Mercedes, Ferrari and Renault are entitled to. When asked about the broader agreements regarding the upcoming engine rules, Horner stated that he would like to see some additional concessions made to assist new manufacturers. The framework that actually exists within the power unit regulations is reasonable from a newcomer status perspective, which obviously Red Bull Powertrains will be for 2026. I think that it's modest hours. I think it's a modest $10 million in the first 2 years and $5 million in the third year as an allowance for a newcomer. I think the thing that is the most restrictive that needs to be looked at is from a capital expenditure perspective, because essentially there's only $50 million worth of capital expenditure allowed on equipment. That's from when the cap comes in. When you look at our competitors, in some cases who have obviously had 70 years of investment on the engine side, to think that you can have a facility fully operational and equipped within the next 9 or 8 months is unrealistic. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. However, the budget for 2026 is the least of Red Bull's concerns, as the team still faces a significant point deficit in both championships. One major focus this season has been their qualifying performance, with Verstappen failing to secure a single pole despite starting at the front of the grid 10 times in 2021. The reigning world champion has remained quick, but lacks the cutting edge required to compete with Leclerc and Ferrari. However, Verstappen has explained why there is more to the situation than meets the eye, citing a car that struggles to reach its full potential on Saturdays. Verstappen responded when asked if being better in race trim than in qualifying is a feature of Red Bull's new car. It's a little bit to do with it, yeah. So far in qualifying it's not been amazing. I just struggle a lot with the balance of the car and it just doesn't give you the confidence to push. My first run in Q3 started to feel a bit better and I was actually hooking it up, but then I locked up again in one corner just because of a random balance shift. It's not been great, to be honest. Verstappen locked his brakes badly in Sector 3 during his final Q3 run at Albert Park, allowing Leclerc to find the crucial gains to take pole. It's just not a good balance all the time. I'm chasing something and I never feel comfortable for one lap except for the long runs. When I come back after the Grand Prix, I go on the simulator and try to find a good base setup, and all the time when I get to the track I face difficulties. I need to understand why that is, because at the moment it's just not been very enjoyable. So, how do you feel about the development race as we approach Imola? Do you believe Red Bull will be able to close the gap on Ferrari? We'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos.